you have your way, and it's making me weaken. You and your status, walking like that. It's really getting too much, but I can't pull back. Though I try to resist, I can't fight this. And no one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. How I try to sleep, but you're deep in my mind. Got a hold of me. When I'm awake, I'm all blind. You and your magic, like infinite power. God knows I try to resist, but you're pulling me closer. Oh, I gotta stay away, but you won't let me. No one makes me feel like you do. And no one sets my body on fire. And no one gives me shivers like you. Oh, no one does it better. with the moon. Take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed, got me starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moonlight. Take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me. Starry-eyed, got me starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moonlight. Take a trip around your body. Boy, I love the way you got me.
Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and family beyond the binary, good evening or morning, depending on where you are, and welcome to the ELO Hell broadcast of the GitGud EU Grand Finals for the Rookie Division. My name is Warren Jungle God Hammond, and I'm joined on the mic by none other than User Intel. How are you doing today, my friend?
Well, I've got to say, the blood's pumping. Maybe that's just the amount of sugar I had to just keep up in me as we're getting ready for these games. But I'm absolutely excited. We're here with two amazing teams who have managed to push themselves far and beyond to be able to reach the rookie finals, which has not been easy within GitGud. A lot of teams have fallen, but I think we have to more look at kind of these two, one meme, one green, one looking to bring home this title. Team 5 Head versus CE Chronos Rewind. I think this is going to be a very scary map.
I think it is as well. I can't wait to see these two teams head off against each other. This is a first to 4 series. Since we are in the grand finals, of course, we want to bring you more Overwatch action. So we are going to start off today as well on Nepal, which is an unusual choice. We don't typically see this one. I feel like we either go to Lijiang Tower, maybe Busan, for control. But no. Today we are headed to Nepal first.
Yeah,
and I, for one, can't wait to see what's going to happen here.
I think it's very kind of interesting to see the fact that we're playing on to Nepal. A lot of teams are very comfortable, not very comfortable on this map. I think more often than not, this is a second pick type of choice where people are more focused on kind of going on Lijiang Tower. It's very easy to get your first map win, but I think on Nepal, this is a map that you very much have to struggle to kind of keep on. And that's a given to the fact that there's not only double shield, that's a very kind of popular map to play, but it's also home to a lot of rush style competitions, especially on something like Village, where that main focus is just running into the enemy teams and trying to shut them down as fast as possible. It's going to be an increasing issue. So at least when it comes to Nepal, we're going to be able to get a good idea of how both of these teams are working and how they want to play.
Yeah, that's such a very good point. And, the other sub-maps on Nepal are interesting as well. If we end up going to Sanctum, we could, in fact, see a Roadhog. It's one of the few maps that I feel like we see Roadhog on regularly anymore, and it's due to just that massive gaping maw in the middle of that map. And then if we do head to Shrine as well, Brawl isn't a bad choice, but you can see a lot of other compositions coming out there as well. You can see a Ball Disruption comp. You can see Dive coming out, maybe a 6-man as well. So lots of different looks you can see on each of these submaps, sure to be entertaining regardless of where we go.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, it's 5 Head's own favorite map type, so maybe they're just more prepared to put in that fight and challenge, and it's obviously going to be their kind of home turf. And I think starting out on a map that you're very favorited on is very good, especially in a first to 4 series. That means a lot. Every map counts. Hopefully not to a 7th, but still hoping for that good kind of combat that these teams are going to be going after.
Absolutely. And just one last reminder for all of you there at home, remember to vote for your MVP in chat. So that'll be going live shortly, may already be there. I'm not sure. You can check and see if it's live yet. But regardless, during this matchup, when you think who you think the MVP is, go ahead and vote.
I've got to say, but right now, let's look at the players that you're going to be having a chance to kind of look at. And I think on both sides, this is pretty interesting. We're not going to be looking at anything too much out of the ordinary. I think Fireman has been one of the kind of a consistent player, not one of the most, but I think a very consistent. Same with Table. However, on the other side, I definitely got to say, I haven't had too much look when it comes to 5 Head. I'm a much more Chronos Rewind type of person. So honestly, Juggle, when you're looking at this, what is possible eyes you're paying attention
to? Well, I am looking at a Lazy Lizard and Valorine actually to come out really firing on all cylinders on that tank line. I think that they've shown themselves this season to just be stellar. So especially Lazy Lizard on that main tank, their Reinhardt I think is truly been one of the standout things so far this season. So really going to be looking to them on the side of team 5 Head. But if we look at Chronos Rewind, Champ, I'm very curious to see how they're going to fare because they prefer this Wrecking Ball, and I think that could come out, on any of these first sub maps. Less likely on Village, which is where we are going to be headed first, but it can be played nonetheless, and we do see the champ hovering over it in spawn right now.
Yeah, look at this. Juggle God wanting to see some Wrecking Ball. What else are you going to expect when it comes to just Overwatch and this casting? Either way, we're looking at basic mirror brawl, where the main focus is all about walling off and target focus. This can be an issue for either side if they make one mistake, but we're going to have to see how that turns out.
Yeah, that we will. We've got the Symmetra coming out on both sides. Each one going to be wanting to set up that car wash, but it's going to be Kronos Rewind who gets to the point first. Mayball comes out from Salik, but they're going to be removed from the fight early on. That Immortality Field comes out from both sides, but it's not quite there to save that May for Team 5-Head. Lazy Lizard goes down, and after that, Rewind going to have pretty good control over the point. They're going to be able to cap it first and start pushing on it. And look at that! Shatter already coming out from Champ. He takes out one more exit pick, but I wonder, if they didn't want to save that. It does make a statement, though. I will give it that.
That makes such a big statement, because compared to Lazy Lizard, they're basically now reset back onto the same ult charge, so that fight was all about just the amazing Mei wall and kind of the quick target focus that kind of opened things up.
That it was, and now we see 5-Head coming along the high ground to try and recontest. It's already a teleporter on point for Rewind. Has been taken out now, and 5-Head going to be dropping down onto point. It looks like they're going to go to the backside of point as well to try and take Hayden Oldna by surprise right there. Another Mei wall from Salik, looking good, but the other wall comes out as well. Lazy Lizard the first to fall this time under the furious beam coming out of the table right now. Look at how high charge they've gotten.
More than anything, I kind of just want to point out the fact that Hayden walled off that Immortality Zone LOS, which enabled Champ to not only get that charge and get a kill, but the fact that they couldn't even peel in, that is so kind of mini peeling and kind of enabling. It's absolutely great.
Absolutely. Shatter comes in from Champ once again. 2 members already down from 5-Head, and Kronos Rewind looking dominant so far on this map, Nepal. Their brawl is the real deal.
They're just basically winning up to their advantages, and I think that's really what's kind of the important part. They're also not really scared to invest these ultimates, though. Team 5-Head are definitely sort of using their ultimates more kind of, I think, reactively. They're not really pushing in the moment that they kind of send them out. Maybe that's a little bit of fear, but it's going to be a bigger issue from the fact that Rewind themselves have 3 ultimates in this last fight scenario, and all they have is a sound barrier.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Sound Barrier gonna have to come up clutch for 5-Head. Here comes the Blizzard. Sound Barrier is committed by Arcanaji, but Ace Dea falls very quickly, and this is going all the way of Rewind. They're gonna be able to come away with 100-0 on this first sub-map.
I've never seen anything more upsetting than Arc sound barriering behind a wall where the team could not get it.
Oh, unlucky.
It was absolutely unlucky, but that was just a bit of poor positioning and a bit of just apprehensiveness. Definitely don't want to end up dying and getting kind of Ajax, as the popular saying goes, but I think we would rather get killed using that sound barrier mid-air than using it and getting no value on it, which was very much kind of an issue. Though Team 5-Head are going to be having a bit more challenges of finding those people to focus on when going up against this Wrecking Ball composition here, kind of more on the Shrine type of map. And that can be a very big problem because this is just Brawl. The only person you're really going to be able to focus on are the supports, and more specifically Rest in Pieces.
Yeah, that is a good point. They are that glass cannon Zenyatta right now. No mobility to really help them out. It's just whether or not you can click a forehead on 5-Heads. So, gonna see if that's gonna be the case for Rest in Pieces or if they are gonna go the way of their moniker. The table starting to layer in a few rockets into Team 5-Head that is started to set up on point. Kronos Rewind beginning to surround this Brawl composition, which is exactly what you want to see. And look at the slam from Champ. Gonna take 12 days out, and the barrage is already online for the table. That is phenomenal. And Rewind gonna take firm control over this point very early on.
Phenomenal is not the word I would use. Absolutely disgusting is the one that I want to say. And that's because you're supposed to be building that barrage up. It's what's expected out of the table, but to use it to that degree to end that fight so quickly is absolutely beautiful. Now, Team 5-Head, they're going to be switching up. They had no way to really block up the upcoming damage, so now they want to be having as many shields and defensive abilities as possible. However, this is not going to be too good when pushing in because they are no longer going to be the engagers. Rather, they're going to have to be very reactive. Every sight lane that they move has to be chosen specifically. And while Lizard does go first, the rest of the team has to catch up.
That they do. Champ going in for a slam right now, looking to get these mines online. They found Zenyatta. Arcanaji out of the fight. Asadia gonna have her work cut out for her now as a couple other members are on the ground back in spawn. And once again, Rewind taking this fight very convincingly.
They're doing an amazing job of being the engagers. They're not really worrying too much about what Team 5-Head is doing. Rather, they're going in with their set plan and they're getting a great value off of it. Their entire kind of composition is set on breaking you down and not allowing you to play to your strength. So just seeing them not really kind of defend their own Zenyatta, which is the base point of everything, is going to be a further issue as they play.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Now we see the table starting to get a little damage in again, but Champ crucially out of the fight. Valorine able to take them down. Immortality Field has to be committed by Asadea one more time. 80% on the board now, and Kobiello, she's out of the fight as well. So Chronos looking a little worse for wear at the moment. Fireman has been demeched as well, but Lazy Lizard a little more crucially out of the fight. And Arcanaji popping off on the Zenyatta all of a sudden. Takes out two. Chronos Rewind still has a few ultimates online. They have control over this point. They're going to get it all the way to 99%. The barrage comes out, but it's going to be traded for the table's life as well. Hayden Nolna going down to about half health as well. Doesn't look like they're going to be too long for this world. And with that, Team 5-Head is now in control, but the champ comes back with a minefield. Rest in Pieces has used that Transcendence as well. The duplication from Sala comes over to the Wrecking Ball. They're going to have that minefield up and running in moments. And there it goes right there on the front of the point. And with that, 5-Head going to be able to take this point.
Team 5-Head, their composition works so good in these long-term fights, and they basically got to work off of it. As Chronos Rewind slowly fell down on not only ultimates, but their own usage of abilities, it just enabled Team 5-Head to be able to just eventually get those small picks and those small downs. However, they've just lost out the Baptiste.
That they have the signal coming onto Arcanaji. Excellent play right there from Hayden Olna. And with that, things are opening up for each side. The Molten Core has been committed now by 12 days. And that is roughly about how long a Molten Core lasts on point. Look at the melee kill coming in from the table. The point has slipped back in control of Rewind. Can anybody from 5-Head touch? It's looking unlikely, and that's going to do it. Rewind coming away with your first map win in these grand finals.
That... I don't even have words for how rude that necessarily was. You could have let them got the flux out. You were basically winning in that fight, but nope. They're just gonna hit you with it and shut you down before you have any opportunity to. And it was absolutely great. The way Chronos Rewind was able to kind of win that out was solely just from the fact that they were able to kind of kill that Baptiste early, and then they didn't know how to react to it, and slowly they kind of fell down to a juggle, but that melee. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, that last melee kill there from the Pharah on the ulting Sig was absolutely tremendous. Lots of great plays there coming out from Rewind, and I have to say, they're looking pretty dominant so far. 5-Head, they've got their work cut out for them, but, you know, Control, not exactly the best barometer of how a series is going to go. It's very deathmatch-like, and sometimes teams come out and they don't look as strong on Control as they do on the rest of the map type. So, going to be curious to see what the difference is going to be coming up, but let's take a look at these Pharah stats for a second.
I really want to be looking at these because the table was so dominant continuously on this map. Only one death, that means a lot. More than anything, I think we should be paying attention to that damage done compared to the eliminations. Final blow, while very high, that's 7k damage against that double shield. That is a lot of damage to be able to put into a team that's going to be looking to shut you down more often than not. And I've got to say, that's basically how you're supposed to be playing it.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And, I'm surprised that there were only 2 ultimates used by the table during that entire submap because they got that barrage online so quickly on that first fight that, that stat to me seems low. But regardless, the value that the table has been getting on that Pharah, just tremendous. And, another point that I want to bring up is that Chronos Rewind looked fantastic on both of the compositions they ran out on. That Ball Disruption comp looked stellar. Their Brawl looked stellar. And right now, Fivehead, they've got a tough ask ahead of them. They need to come back in this and show that they've got the kind of composition and the mental fortitude to come back after a pretty convincing loss like that on the first map. We saw some good stuff coming out from them, don't get me wrong, especially when we got to that second sub map, but they do have some catching up to do, I think, here.
I definitely had to agree. Losing out on Nepal being your own choice, that's a little bit more defeating, and it hurts. It hurts on a good side. But I think Chronos Rewind, they're going to be taking that, and they're just going to be laughing for a little bit. As basically, I think they have just showed themselves to kind of be flexible. They looked very good on the Brawl. They looked very good on the Wrecking Ball. So you have to ask yourselves, what is their weakness? What are they more worried about? Kind of not going on to that is going to be that bigger problem because Team 5 they're not being able to work as a unit, which is more than kind of what you're going to be relying on, and that it's very struggling continuing forward. But in this series, they have a lot of opportunity to start adapting, start working around it, and I think this is where we're going to be seeing Team 5 and maybe start to bring it back. More than anything, I like to say that Control is a warm-up map. That's where teams are more focused on kind of bringing it, a little bit more into their momentum.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And this is a long series as well. We are going to be this is a first to 4. So lots of opportunities for Fivehead to come back in this. And we're going to be headed to an escort map next. And I, for one, am curious to see what it's going to be exactly. We will be going to Junkertown. So this is an interesting choice. Lots of long sight lines here on first point. So snipers can be very powerful, but so can Wrecking Ball on this first sub map, or rather on this first point as well. Going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out and what the teams are going to pick.
If there's anything that comes to Junkertown, it's always going to be the casters spending that 1 to 2 minutes to talk about how dominant snipers can be. And it's a very great reason as to why. It's just that there are so many angles and sight lines that if you combo it with the Wrecking Ball composition, you can do absolute wonders. And we've already seen Rewind kind of pop off a little bit on it. This is where Team 5 they can play a little bit more of the double shield. They can kind of have more opportunities to, I think show off that double shield and be able to kind of play around it more. But this is still a little bit more favorable, I think, when it comes to Chronos Rewind, just to have that flexibility that they've already shown.
Yeah, I think you are absolutely right there. We've seen, actually, something that I do want to mention is we've seen multiple compositions coming out from each side. So we know that they have a deep bag of tricks from which to pull from. And that is going to be important when you do head to a map like Junkertown, because there are a lot of different options. But I think one that you typically see is the double shield coming out because, again, double sniper is so powerful.
Yeah, luckily, though, we are going to be getting in some trades in, and I say luckily, not in a rude way, but that's because you get to see more players and more talent. We see this swap. The table is off, and Hayden is going to be in the map, so pronunciations aside, we are going to be seeing them at least set up on what we somewhat expected. Team 5 had using out on that double shield. I very much love this idea that they're going with, especially with the small man with the hammer. That Torbjorn is absolutely oppressive. aggressive at times, especially against this Dragon Ball composition, more if they had that Somber, but it seems that they're not going to be going out with this. Chrono Rewind, though, they look a little bit more uncertain with what they might run, possibly going on to the double shield, possibly more focused on the Wrecking Ball. However, it seems that they want to be on a slight variant, that Orisa could be good if they were more focused on kind of protecting out the short line. And, well, it seems that they finally edged in. This is going to be a fight versus the DPS.
Yeah, and this is very, very interesting. Too bad at this. They're actually coming into to sub in this time, probably for this Widow specifically. You know, that's going to be my guess here. An excellent Hulk coming in. Hey, Nolna, and Too Bad at this. Take a shot. Take 12 days out. Salik out of the fight as well. There's no more DPS for Fivehead as their foreheads got clicked by these snipers from Chronos Rewind. And now, Too Bad at this, looking through those oil drums right there to see if they can find a little bit more value. But Team Fivehead has now protected themselves, at least for the moment. That is until Hey Nolna finds Sadea out, and she is going to have to come back in this fight quickly, because right now Arcanaji is the only heals they have, and Chronos Rewind has pushed this card considerably far forward. Fivehead got a amount of great defense here, but without Valerina, it's up to Lazy Lizard to hold the line. But they're only going to be able to do that for so long, and Hey Nolna is continuing to click heads on this Hanzo. Just incredible shots coming out.
My goodness, you know, for a composition that relies on two shields, they couldn't even use one, unfortunately. So at this point, freely going into the side of Chronos Rewind, but this is where it's going to be more of an issue. We do see that mirror onto the Hanzo, which can be very oppressive because Hanzo is just so good at breaking these shields. They're gotta be looking for these openings or these kind of early picks if Chrono Rewind wants to be able to push forward. However, Team Fivehead, well, they have the high ground, as Obi-Wan once said.
That is true, and with the high ground comes a lot of power, and excellent headshot coming out there from Hey Nolna. They have the Dragon Strike ready to go. Might combine it with these sights to get a good idea of where everybody's gonna be. Valerine goes down to about half health. Asadea, she has to use that Immortality Field one more time to stay alive. Goes out very quickly. Arcanaji going down low. Can they stay alive? Hey Nolna looking for more value. They do fight Arcanaji. Asadea, she has that Amp Matrix up and ready to go. They're going to use it, but crucially, somebody has to touch point from Fivehead. Can they get there in time? There's one member down, and they've got a couple of picks. More crucially, they've got the support line of Rewind out of the fight. Can they turn this their way? There's picks coming out from both sides, but Fivehead looking a little worse for wear. Chronos Rewind going to be able to see point 3 with 5.5 minutes in the bank.
Yeah, the big problem that came to that fight was just the kind of usage that they had with their own abilities and that ultimate. The window wasn't too bad, but the bongo on that high ground and then you drop, you're not going to be getting much room for it. You're putting a lot of hope in your DPS as well. Yes, they did get the support line. The tanks are the ones you have to worry about. They're the ones who are surviving and being able to contest that point. And, well, you see what happens because of it.
Yeah, exactly. That point just really hasn't stopped moving so far. For Chronos Rewind, they may be Rewind, but they are playing this map on fast forward right now. We've got a flank coming out from 12 days. Can they find value, or are they just going to find a headshot? Looks like they're going to be able to get a stick. Oh, it was close. Doesn't quite land, but Champ still takes a considerable amount of damage. It is healed back up, but Salik now looking a little worse for wear. They are going to be taken out by Hey Nolna. Hey Nolna on Hanzo got 10 elims right now. Their accuracy up to 30-some%. And that's considering they're drumming a lot of those arrows into shields as well. Excellent Dragon Strike to kind of clear the way as well for the rest of the members of Rewind and that cart. And Team Fivehead, right now, just looking a little bit outclassed on this defense.
A little bit so, I would have to say. They are very much struggling to kind of keep up with this pace and the damage that's kind of coming out. But they've swapped over to a more stall composition. It's all about getting picks now.
Yeah, that it is. Lazy Lizard going low on the Wrecking Ball. Can they find some health, or are they going to find Demise? No, they found a Venom Mine that is going to take him out. Dragon Strike coming in to try and zone out Too Bad at this, who is too good at this at the moment. Bongo's coming out for Champ very soon. If they even need them, it looks like they're going to wait just a second to try and get as much value as they can. Out comes in, but doesn't find anything. Going to be an excellent Rabbinic Flux coming out from Valerine to open things up, though. and that, or rather from Firemen, and that's gonna do it. Round 1 is done, and with 3:33 on the clock, Chronos Rewind looking good.
My goodness, Team Fivehead, they were very stuck in one spot throughout that entire last defense spot. We even saw them very scared of the Widowmaker, so they didn't want to risk that peeking. And I think that's a really good idea. But the big problem came is that they did nothing with the angles that they were taking and how kind of scared they were. Which, I mean, I get it. It's understandable as to why, because that's a lot of damage that's kind of hitting you down and they're watching your angles. But this is double shield. If you stay in the same spot, that damage is going to rack up, and they gave Solak enough room to be able to build up that gravitic flux, put in that damage. Well, more of Valorine, because they're not, I just realized, don't even worry about it. Either way, it became that big issue, and now it's Chronos Rewind's own turn to be able to defend. They have been playing the aggression, so now going to be playing the defenders. They're going to be more focused on letting their DPS flanks while the tank line is contesting onto that point. They need to be a little bit more proactive. I think 12 Days and Solak, they're not bad players, and they definitely have had their moments to shine for a tiny second or so, but we need to be seeing them kind of pop up. This is the playoffs. Your adrenaline is going high, so you got to be using it to your advantage rather than kind of just, you know, playing as normal. This is where you step above and beyond.
That it is, and right now we're seeing both snipers take a similar angle, which is unusual, but headshot comes out early on the Lazy Lizard, and the kill onto Arcanaji as well. The sniper's already finding tremendous value from Rewind as Arcanaji heads back to spawn. They're going to be back in the fight very quickly, though, before the card has made too terribly much progress. Hog coming out from Champ, or rather a Lazy Lizard, but they're taken out by Champ right afterwards. So this defense from Rewind looking pretty good so far.
They're being able to just hit him with that burst damage. It's all up to the DPS. As Del Solak's picks onto the Hanzo is going to open things up for a tiny bit. They still haven't really taken out the tanks, or really that Hanzo, who's been kind of doing a really good, I mean the Widowmaker more of it, that has been doing an amazing job of keeping their line of sight broken off. But now with this open space, it's all about what we can see Solak in 12 Days do.
Yeah, that it is. They do have the 12 Days has the high ground here. Saw the tracer round coming out from the Too Bad at this right there. They know roughly where they are. But body shot comes out. That's gonna take them, make them go back and try and get a little bit of health. Too Bad at this goes down pretty low, as Solak able to find a couple nice shots right there. But they are going to be healed back up, and the point now heavily contested by both teams. Rewind seems to have hit a little bit of a stall here, or rather, they've Fivehead rather starting to get some progress as Hey Nolna out of the fight. And now Chronos Rewind having to back off a little bit and give them the space they deserve, especially with the Ant Matrix that came out from Asadea.
Definitely agree, but look, the fight's no longer, it's gonna keep going.
That it is. Rest in Pieces uses the Transcendence to try and keep Chronos Rewind in this fight. And Too Bad at this coming up big for Rewind. The Supercharger now committed from Lazy Lizard, but they've got a couple of members down right now. They desperately need to turn this around, and that is exactly what's starting to happen. A couple picks coming out in favor, but at the end of the day, I think it is going to be Rewind coming back and taking control of this defense.
They did a really amazing job of just kind of bringing in the ultimates to in their favor. That gravitic flux was absolutely massive, and unfortunately Team 5 they invested quite a bit there. I think more than anything they really wanted to win it out, but it just came down to if the DPS could truly clean things up. The tanks are just there to open things up. That's their main job.
Yeah, that is a good point, and opening things up is especially, I think, crucial when you talk about that Orisa. The halt ability just so strong. That CC is absolutely tremendous. And speaking of tremendous, coming in another headshot from Too Bad at this. Gonna open things up once again for Rewind. Fivehead having trouble gaining traction here on this point, especially after Hey Nolna takes Valorine out of the fight as well. Fivehead gonna back up with just a minute left to go to try and cap this first point.
Well, these fights have been lasting for so long that I truly didn't even I kind of underestimated the time bank. Team 5 have been building things up. They finally have everything but their own tank ult. However, they need to be very proactive with it. They are hearing my voice, but then the counterplay goes out, and it works better!
Oh my gosh, both Dragon Strikes hit, but it's going to be the Storm Arrows coming out, taking 12 days out of the fight. A couple more picks come online. Solak has committed the Bob, but they're not going to be long for this world. They're going to have to go back and get reconstituted. Another Supercharger out now from Champ to try and keep 5-head from pushing this card further forward. The Bago is taken out of the fight, but right after that, there's an Amp Matrix from Coviello. She's got that up, but crucially, Rest in Pieces is down. And now with the Immortality Field already committed from Asadea, she has to commit to Supercharger as well to try and keep things going for 5-head. Immortality Field now out. Coviello's removed from the fight as well, and with a Gravitic Plug coming in from Fireman, things are looking a little rough for Team 5-head. That's just Lazy Lizard on point right now with these Supercharger. Can they get anything done? No, it doesn't look like it, and that's gonna do it. Chronos Rewind going up 2-0.
Hayden Onat has just absolutely stepped up to the plate when it comes to playing Overwatch. I've never seen such quick picks in those successions. Team 5-head definitely would have been able to win that out. However, they just weren't able to kind of sit behind their shield. They were very much trying to play that aggression, and it cost them everything. And that's not to say that the tanks line weren't doing amazing, but as you saw, Fireman was absolutely showing up. And don't worry about why my green screen isn't working. My lighting is absolutely ruined because the sun's coming up. I've got to work on that. So either way, you're stuck with a random green screen. Yeah, it just broke. Either way, it was absolutely great, but I want to put more emphasis onto the Sigmas rather than a DPS, because I think both of these Sigmas tried their best, but there was very much a kind of difference. Valorine was a little bit off, you know, trying to do their best with this value. But look at Fireman! How do you just wake up 0 deaths, 14k damage, you double in eliminations, and your damage is phenomenal, 5k plus? That's how you show up, how that Sigma can get so much room, being a lot more aggressive. And I've got to say, this is why I think Chrono Rewind, not Chrono Trigger, that's an old game. Chrono Rewind.
That is a great game, by the way.
It's absolutely great. But Chronos Rewind, they have woken up. Something inside of them has just prepared to kind of dominate. And so right now with this 2-0 lead, it's looking very nice.
It is, yeah. I think these stats are just tremendous. Looking at Fireman, you know, like you said, it's interesting that the damage blocked is roughly the same, but the damage done is just tremendous. And you see it in the Elans as well. This is truly staggering, I think, this kind of difference. And Valorine gonna have to step it up, I think, in this mirror matchup. Either that or they're gonna have to go and try and counterpick compositions. But before we see exactly how that's gonna go, we're gonna take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with plenty more action.
Just keep painting constellations. You cover me in glitter till I'm shining bright. I never wanna leave the sky. The way you made me feel alive. I was in the dark and baby you're the light. You're from another planet. I've never felt like this. I don't know how I ever survived without it. I'm starry-eyed. Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with them.
my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Running through the last of my thoughts, standing on the edge of my time. Everything I know will be gone in a minute, and that's alright. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah, baby, I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Alright, 'cause I'm free. I'm freer than I've ever been before. Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are ready to head back into the action. If you are just now joining us, we have Team 5head going up against CE Chronos Rewind. Chronos Rewind ahead 2-0 at the moment after a couple of really, I would say, dominant performances from them on Junkertown and Nepal. But we are going to be headed into Kings Road next, and as we do that, we've got a swap coming in. We're going to have Aerolive in instead of Coviello on the side of Chronos Rewind. So a little bit of a swap in the support line right there, but Aerolive, an excellent player in her own right.
I gotta say, it's absolutely going to be important to see these roster swaps, but more than anything, Kings Row, the map.
Yeah.
This is a very popular map. I think that's something that we have to 100% kind of be confirmed on. But Chronos have been kind of stepping up their game. I think they've absolutely been doing amazing. Chronos Rewind, for some reason, have just been playing on an absolute different level. Normally, I tend to say that a team isn't dominating. The other team is just throwing. But this really is dominating because they're trying their best. It's just that this is a pace that I think right now they can't keep up with. So we're going to have to see how they change things up, especially because Kings Row, very popular for that traditional brawl with the Rhine, Diva, Cassidy, May, Bap, Lucio. I think we can all kind of, fundamentally read that off from the back of your hand. Which I don't know why I'm explaining because we all know it. So it's going to be kind of more curious to see if we have any variations. I've been seeing a lot more Hanzo. Some teams like to run out of the wrecking ball, kind of mess with your head. There's a lot of opportunities to kind of play a bit more different.
Yes, that there are. Kings Row, one of the most classic maps in Overwatch. But if you are new to Overwatch, no, we are not talking about Kings Row, the 1940 film starring none other than the 42nd President of the United States of America, Ronald Reagan. We're talking about Kings Row, the classic map that came about from Aaron, the new head of the Overwatch development team, also known as Scrims Row and Goats Row. It is the location of Widowmaker's finest kill, a headshot on Mondada, the spiritual advisor of Zenyatta. Kings Row, you can't get more classic than that.
I remember this was one of the first cinematics that actually released for Overwatch at the Widowmaker vs. Tracer, where we got an excellent sight of both gameplay and lore. Miss those days, I definitely do. Either way, we're going to be seeing some possible teasers of a different composition. We're not even going to be focusing on that. I'm tired of teams messing with my heart like this. I'm more interested to see that 5head is on this normal style, and I think it works to great degrees. The big problem with it, and I'll talk a little bit about the possible wrecking ball, is because that wrecking ball is able to play at different angles. And on Brawl, you're basically just looking at a team, you're saying, well, they're walking into us, so, we're just going to have to walk into them, or we'll look for our Maywalls, and that's how we'll win. And I guess Chronos Rewind, they really don't want to tease or kind of test anything. They're just going to be going out on the normal. This will be a fight against Hayden and Sulik.
Yeah, that it will. Mayball coming out early on from 5head, almost takes out Fireman, but they're able to get back over that wall, and now Chronos Rewind gonna hit the fast forward button. Mayball comes out this time from Hayden Olna, and it's gonna almost catch out Lazy Lizard. They go down to about half health, but they are able to get healed back up by Asadea, and now Chronos Rewind taking nice control here of this point. Another wall coming out from Hayden Olna, and now the Immortality Field is there as well from Rest in Pieces to keep their team alive and allow them to push forward, and that is exactly what they are doing very hard against Team 5head. With that, Chronos Rewind gonna take first point of King.
Team 5head loses that solely because they hit the S key. There's nothing more you shouldn't do in Overwatch than hit that S key. And I mean, that's an oversimplified kind of explanation of how everything's working, but it's just the fact that Chronos very much pushed in. They had a very nice Maywall to set themselves up, and then Too Bad at this was able to just cleanly get those body to headshots, and it eventually worked out in their favor. Now this is going to be a fight on the corner rather than directly on the anchors.
Yeah, that it is. It's going to be right here at the corner of Bookshop. Champ goes and throws out the Shatter. Doesn't seem to find any value this time around, but the Maywall is big, and the charge comes in onto Lazy Lizard, and with that, there's less than a front line left for Team 5head, as Ballerina's also been demected. With that, once again, Chronos Rewind takes the fight.
No, I gotta say a little bit. I'm gonna a little bit disagree with you. That shatter had so much value in the sense that it didn't get value, and what I mean by that is the fact that Champ threw it down, hits the entire team, and they could not focus down Champ, who was walled off for that split second. It gave them enough opportunity to kind of work back together, and Chronos Rewind benefit a lot from it, which is not often what we see when you hit that shatter. Most teams are kind of frustrated because you don't end up following up on it. But right now, look at that. Champ immediately built it back, and they're gonna have it for this fight.
Yeah, that they are Amplification Matrix now committed once again by Asadea. Chronos Rewind has to back up just a little bit, and already Lazy Lizard getting a little bit of value, and Team 5 had gonna be able to mount an excellent defense off here, off of the back of Asadea's Amplification Matrix.
I think that's the moment where you can say that the Shatter truly got no value, and that's because it went up against a May ultimate. Team 5 they got hit by it. There's nothing more to say than that. Lazy Lizard was down, Valorine was down, a good percentage of the team was down, but the Blizzard was there to protect them, and so they didn't really have to worry about anyone running onto them. They just got to reset, work together, and basically come back to be a more beneficial squad. Now going up in this next fight, they're going to be not having that ultimate, while the other side, it's all about what they're going to be able to eat.
Yeah, exactly. The Blizzard does not get eaten this time around. Lazy Lizard removed from the fight early on. So with that, Chronos Rewind gonna move forward 12 days out of the fight as well. And Team 5 had gonna have to back off, at least for the moment, to see if they can try and stall this card out. But it looks like Arcanachi has other ideas. They want to stall the card out now. They go down perilously low, and they're gonna be taken out by Rest in Peace. Solico finds the counter pick on the Air Live. So no Lucio for either side. The self-destruct coming in with the Blizzard, and it's gonna catch fire, man. And once again, Team Firehead coming up with a nice hold. The Shatter comes in from Lazy Lizard, goes right into the shield of Champ. And with that, Chronos Rewind doing an excellent job. That is Team Fivehead is pushing on Chronos Rewind and getting them to back away.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that Shatter wasn't just absolutely random. Sometimes I'd like to ego on teams, just drop that Shatter the moment that they try to turn around or disengage, because if you hit it, you look like an absolute G, but if you don't, you just sit there like, don't worry guys. Either way, that was an amazing Blizzard. It built so quickly.
That it did. Asadea, once again, she's using that Amp Matrix to try and zone out the rest of Chronos Rewind. Shatter thrown out from Champ. But the sound barrier from Airlive is huge. Going to keep so many members of Chronos Rewind up and allow them to push very aggressively into Team 5 Head. Lazy Lizard going to drop. And with that, it's just going to be Valorine who is there to take care of their team and hold that front line. Asadea gets caught out a little bit. She doesn't get back quite as quickly as needed. And with that, there's no more supports left for Team 5 Head. They are looking a little bit rough. They're going to try and stall out this point just as long as they can. 12 days going on a flank, dueling out Too Bad at this, who does get the immortality field. That's going to allow them to stay up. And the point was capped in the meantime, and it's going to be able to continue moving.
See, that's not fair. 12 Days definitely would have won that 1v1 if just nobody was there. You would have saw it. Either way, they got punished for over-aggressing. Obviously, they had a good center plan and a good idea, but the problem just became from the fact that they tried to move into the enemy's turf and they were all stacked.
Yeah, absolutely. High Noon coming out from Too Bad at this. Cassidy able to get one pick on the Lazy Lizard, and that's one of the biggest ones you'd like to get. Fireman follows it up with another one. Arcanachi commits the sound barrier after the Blizzard thrown out by Solix to try and turn their fates around, but the fates seem to be favoring right now Champion Chronos Rewind, as there's an excellent Shatter Bomb coming in. The Shatter itself gets 2 picks, and the bomb afterwards gets the rest. Asadea has this Amplification Matrix, but can they get back out there in time? Hey, Nola pops the Blizzard once again as Champ gets stunned, and that's gonna do it. Rewind caps with a little over 2 minutes in the bank.
That was a Blizzard to compare from before. It was absolutely used just to LOS them and to find anyone out. That was a massive Shatter from Lazy. Unfortunately, though, there was no room to get any follow-up on it, and that's just nothing on you. That's just something that the enemy team was able to kind of defeat you on, because you all went through the same way as you respawned, which can be a big issue, but can also be a benefit. However, it became an issue for this slide. Team 5 Head is not able to keep up with this pace. We did see them win a couple fights. They definitely got to manage to show themselves not as a low-tier to your team, they're still managing to kind of bring things out and take the even. But I think the big difference is that Chronos Rewind, they are playing to such a fast pace that I don't think Team 5 can truly kind of keep up with that. And I think the best examples go into Champ using those shatters and any possible opportunities. How too bad at this is always set up to be able to hit those flashes on anybody who's trying to peek in. And more than anything, Fireman, who is continuously, and I mean continuously, walking forward, peeling in, is reacting to these ultimates more than I've ever seen a D.Va be able to, and I think that's an absolute big play that they're kind of shutting down and looking to win out these fights. And it's going to need, I'm going to need Team 5 to just, you know, slap themselves in the face, just start screaming if they need to, because you gotta be a bit more, I guess, more reactive in a sense.
Yeah, you know, I think the tempo really has been controlled very well by Chronos Rewind right now, and Fireman, like you said, doing an excellent job. They are literally putting out every fire that Team 5 is trying to start. And that's just what you want to see out of a D.Va. 12 days and the rest of 5 now trying to rotate around the Moan Battle statue. Lazy Lizard gets stunned, taken out of the fight. An excellent flash there from Flashity. So, Chronos Rewind going to be able to move forward now and push back against Team 5 and send them back to spawn.
It's a little bit more unfortunate. You know, you try to walk out, you try to get yourself ready, but they were just a bit more prepared. They even had the May wall to kind of set themselves up, and it's just been absolutely showing up as they continue to play this game. But the way to kind of engage this is either use that May wall for kind of a big pickup, or you use it to give yourself more space. However, they're not getting an opportunity to do either.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think, once again, it's because of the tempo that Chronos Rewind is able to keep. Here they go again, popping their ultimates first. Rest in Peace is able to get that Amp Matrix online, and Asadea, she's out of the fight right before she gets hers. Another flash comes in from Cold Flashity, able to get the D-Mech out onto Valorine, and with that, Chronos Rewind taking the fight again.
Since when did people stagger May, of all people? I think that's the one character you don't stagger, because that's so much ult charge that the May's gonna get just passively living. And I mean, yes, you get it while you're dead, but I mean, Sulik was able to get a few shots in, so at least they're gonna be coming close to that collision. But Chronos Rewind, they're absolutely being able to push forward. Look how Hayden is already set up, prepared to use this Blizzard.
Yeah, this is tremendous. The ult bank right now from Chronos Rewind, very, very commanding. Mayball comes out, almost catches Lazy Lizard, but they're able to skirt away on the top of that Mayball right there. Hey, Nola gonna drop this Blizzard right now and dive into the mix of the rest of Team 5. Shatter comes in, it does catch Valorine. Lazy Lizard once again takes a flash to the face, but the kills are coming up in favor of Team 5, especially after they pop this sound barrier too to try and move on to point. The flash comes in as well, and now Fireman has been demexed, and with that, 5 they're coming back in this. They're showing signs of life, and now they are really starting to play and give Chronos Rewind some trouble.
Yeah. Team 5 they just read Chronos Rewind like a book. Chronos invested so much and got none out of it because it was a little bit too obvious and they weren't playing as fast as they were before. So Team 5 they were able to read it. However, they weren't able to read that they were already reset and back into this corner.
Yeah, and this corner is going to be bad for them, especially after that Maywall comes out and catches that Lazy Lizard. The Shatter does connect, lays down a couple of members of Rewind, and with a Blizzard being committed by Salik as well, they're going to be in a very good position to push forward. They have to get Rest in Pieces, though, out of this fight. They have been able to jump using those moon boots to get up to the high ground, but they're going to be picked off eventually.
A really nice and early fight. Something more relatable that I think a lot of people aren't noticing is that 12 days sometimes has to stand still just to hit those accurate shots. I've never felt more related to a player in my life. They're now set up with those defensive abilities, though, as that Blizzard... not Blizzard, rather, but that D.Va Bomb is going to be able to kind of pop out, control these angles. Chronos Rewind, they're more trying to set the pace, however, they're not having those good opportunities to.
No, they're not. And they're in street phase as well, which is one of the phases that goes by quickest. The champ able to take Lazy Lizard out of the fight, though. So, the front line looking a little worse for wear now for Team 5. Shatter comes in from champ, catches the remaining 4 members, lays them out for the rest of their team to clean them up, and that's exactly what we see happen. Chronos Rewind got a hold right here at Bookshop.
I gotta say, Hayden's own May Wolves have been winning out 95% of these fights. I think that's a big point of May, and that's why you have to stay stacked as a Reinhardt or be lucky, and you're able to just immediately jump onto that wall and hide behind it, laughing at them, saying, "What are you doing?" Team 5 is now going to struggle to move forward the longer that they don't manage to push this into the last phase of the streets.
Yeah, High Noon committed now by 12 days. They're going to amp speed in to keep the pressure onto Chronos Rewind. It is popped without any real effect coming out, except for getting this car pushed up to the final corner of third point, which is a great thing. And Matrix now used to zone out the rest of Team 5. They're going to take the backside, though. Going to flank around. They catch members of Rewind off guard, but not so much so that they can't commit the Blizzard. And the freeze coming out onto a couple of members, Valorine and Solid. A Deadeye once again by Too Bad at this. And that's going to catch Lazy Lizard out. The sound very committed from Air Live as well is going to let them keep the aggression on. And now they're just cleaning up one more time. And there's just a minute and change left for Team 5 had to try and get through third point.
That's what I'm talking about when you're focusing down priorities. Chronos Rewind, they used that bomb to focus them out. Too Bad at this, had the opportunity to kill off that Lucio, but then waited. Saw that there was a better opportunity when it came down to taking out Lazy Lizard, and that optimally basically just allowed them to kind of move in that fight. And that's kind of selective picking and patience that Chronos Rewind have been using to their favor. It's really hard to move in, especially in these tight quarters, but Solid has the Blizzard.
That they do, but think about, look at the Shatter! The Shatter catches 5, Arcanagi the only one up! The Slam does come into the Blizzard is eaten by Fireman as well. This is just tremendous play coming out from the tank line of Chronos Rewind. They shut down that push with some phenomenal play right there. And now, just 30 seconds left for Fivehead to try and get this cart through Streets phase. They're heading up against the wall though from Chronos Rewind.
I've heard the phrase of salt in the wounds. They just basically spat in your face.
Fire Strike comes in and continues to do that as 12 Days is out of the fight. Crucially, they had that Deadeye as well that could have been used to get a lot of value, but the Maywall comes out as well from Hey Nola, sectioning off just the tanks of Can Anybody Touch? They are able to. The Shatter comes in. It is successful from Lazy Lizard, looking like a wizard right there with that Reinhardt. But the May Blizzard coming in from Hey Nola is going to seal the deal for Chronos Rewind. And now they're looking at a 3-0 score line. They're gonna go up in this series. Team Fivehead has to come back. Their backs are against the wall.
Woo! Chronos Rewind, I want to kind of take a second to analyze what exactly just happened. So you guys enjoyed the background gameplay while I kind of give you a bit more of an explanation on what just happened, because those were two very quick fights. So Chronos Rewind hit Q, and they hit Q better. That Shadow was absolutely set up that the moment Team 5 had, they knew they had the ultimate. That's really good tracking because they were prepared to play against it, as we saw. So, you know, you just run in, you hit that Shatter because your Reinhardt's not going to be setting up that shield. It slows you down, so you move in, you run as fast as you can, boom, you get hit. That May still wants to try to save that fight, throws the Blizzard, it gets eaten. You're predictable. You're on the script. You gotta change the life. And then Chronos Rewind after that, Team 5 is so scattered, saying, reset, reset, reset. What do we do? What do we do? We have this, we have this. What do they have? What do they have? It breaks down comms in the end when you're trying to shove everything at once and you're trying to kind of get that quick understanding at the last second. It's gonna defeat you, and that's what we saw. Now we're at match point, the last being 2CP. That's not where you want to bring this comeback. That is absolutely the scariest map type to go on to get your first win and hopefully stop Chronos Rewind from getting that 4-0. But we've got to admit, they have just been increasingly putting up the speed. I think Team 5 they had opportunities and they had moments where they showed themselves to be able to kind of go up against it. But it's about the consistency more than anything.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one of the things I want to bring up too is I think when you were looking at those last fights, right, when the huge Earth Shatter come in, the penultimate fight, right, when that massive Earth Shatter came in and that Blizzard eat that you were talking about, I think it really did shake the mental of Team 5 because you saw 12 Days get picked off early in that fight. That looked to me as though they were trying to rush to get back to point, right? They were rushing to try and get set up, and in that they kind of lost track of where the other team was and what they were doing and just got picked off, and that set them back considerably as well. So I think that just staying cool and calm in the moment is what Team Five Head needs to do. But I want to take a quick peek and compare what the Reinhardts have been doing as well. They have been, I think one of the stories here is, look at this champ. Look at the difference here.
I'm not using the Lord's name in vain, but oh my god.
Yeah. 34 elims from Champ versus just 9 for Lazy Lizard, and the damage done. I mean, this to me looks like a very similar comparison to what we saw with the off tanks last time when we were looking at the Sigmas, right? Where the damage blocked very, very similar. In fact, Lazy Lizard doing a little bit more blocking, but just the difference in the aggression is tremendous.
It's not always about the damage, Spider-Man. It's about the eliminations, not the Mets. The Mets are great, but where I'm more focused on this. 9 to 34?
Yeah.
How do you get that much value? Maybe Champ is just pushing in. Yes, we don't have those deaths per second, but look at the ultimate usage. It's doubled in size. Final blows more. That means you're kind of seeing that Champ in themselves is a very aggressive main tank. A main tank that knows kind of their own spacing and what positioning they need to take to be able to kind of advantageously take these fights. Lazy Lizard is not on that level. So I guess you can consider yourself a kind of main tank difference opportunity, or if you really want to kind of ego and say that phrase, a little bit I'll kind of say to that side, but I think that's kind of just showing how good Chronos Rewind are right now and how much they have stepped it up a level. But when going on to our last map, Hanamura, what level can you step this up to? I think it's very popular to get a full health on this, so I don't really think you can like show a new level of just impressiveness that we haven't already seen, but I'm open to be surprised.
Yeah, as am I. And I want to add on one last thing to what, we were talking about with that Reinhardt comparison, and that's that Reinhardt is a character that pops off when their team is really supporting them. And to me, I think the numbers that we're seeing reflected there show just how much support, right, the Reinhardt for Chronos Rewind is getting in comparison to Lazy Lizard. I think that just shows that the team is enabling the Reinhardt very, very well. But you're absolutely right. Hanamura is going to be potentially our last stop on this trip. Right now, backs against the wall for Team 5 Head. They just they need to bring something back here. They need to show us something that we haven't seen before.
I think more than that, rather than just kind of, I think showing us what they haven't before and ideas like that. I think more than anything, they need to fix their mentals, because by far they may be feeling a little bit scattered. They are possibly feeling a little more anxious. A lot of teams in these scenarios, they're always trying to play it off cool, but I know deep down it's so hard to be in this type of scenario. And I think that's kind of a pressure that we have to give a little bit more love to, is if you're going to be able to kind of bring it back, if you're going to be able to kind of calm your nerves and focus as a team. This is not over. Yes, this is a so far 3-0, but I think Overwatch, 1/3 of it is a mental game. And if you're able to master that, then you're basically on the level of a diamond player.
Yeah, that's a good point. The mental is absolutely tremendous in this game. And both of these teams, I know that they have solid mental. They wouldn't have gotten this far if they didn't. So Team 5 Head, I believe in them to come back in this to mount an excellent showing here on Hanamura. And I hope that, for one, we get to see a map number 5, potentially 6 or 7 here. But that's going to be all up to these two teams. And the cherry blossom strewn land of Japan and Hanamura is an excellent place, I think, to potentially see this series close out.
I definitely have to agree. I think Hanamura is one of those maps that is more... how do I say? Skill intensive at times, but more than anything, this is a team offensive map. This is Double Shield versus Brawl TP. Team 5 Head, as long as they're playing proactive and adapting to the TPs, they can win this.
That they can. The TP gonna come out sometime soon. It's Furious. Oh, it gets taken out. So now Chronos Rewind has to try and push in without that. They're gonna get stopped though by 12 Days, who's able to pick Hey Nola out of the fight. Rest in Peace is gone as well, and with that, Team 5 Head starting out with a phenomenal hold, and they're gonna be able to stagger the rest of these kills too.
I've never seen a team, unfortunately, place it a little too far. It gets broken, can't be shielded, and then you just decide, let's run on them! You know, like they just decided with every ounce of blood in them to try and push forward. Unfortunately, they weren't going to be able to finish that out. The double shield just really works good. Same with 12 days. They've just set themselves up for glory, though this will be a Pharah v Pharah now against a kind of wrecking ball.
Ooh, yeah, I'm excited to see this come out right now. It's gonna be really good against this double shield. They're gonna be able to get a lot of disruption on that bunker composition. 12 days taken out of the fight though by Nolna back on that Pharah, and that's gonna be a tough res to get out. I don't think that Air lives. She's gonna be able to do it, but Asandea, she's out of the fight now, so this is looking a little bit rough for Team 5head now with these picks coming in. Kronos Rewind looking strong. And now with points starting to capture over, it's going to be up to 5head to decide if they want to try and stall. And I don't think that's going to be wise.
No, I think Kronos made a very good idea when it came to just switching over to the Wrecking Ball composition. Team 5head had no idea who to focus down, and eventually that caught them out to the first few picks, and eventually it forced them to have to collapse. It is going to be easier when we come to the defending B, because it's just more sightline angles, and you have to worry about them using their ultimates to set you up. You can absolutely win this. You just have to stay focused and calm.
Yeah, that you do. Now we've got Too Bad at this looking to get some kind of a flank going on, but they don't find any value there. They're gonna see if they can find a different angle. Hey, Nolna now taking the main route as the champ is getting a little bit of disruption going on that high ground. Doesn't find too much, but Hey, Nolna able to take 12 days out of the fight. Riptire coming in from Salik. It's going to be taken out before it finds any value. Take that back. It does get Fireman demeched, and that is big, because Fireman has been such a tremendous force for Kronos Rewind. But hey, Nolna coming in with a big barrage, able to catch 2 out, gets 1 with her rocket as well. And with that, Valerine coming in big with a gravitic luck to try and keep things going. But the champ is there with a grappling claw kill as well. 1 tick almost on the board for Kronos Rewind. Can they turn this in their favor, or is Team 5head's respawn advantage too strong?
A lot of teams often sit there and say, you know, we focus out that Pharah and we win this. However, that Mercy kept up 12 days for so long. The damage just wasn't there. Eventually being able to save that barrage, pop it, and secure the fight. That could have gone terribly. If they get a tick, they've already set themselves up for victory. So you just want to stop them. This is where you need to fully hold them.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And now we see the aggression starting to come in once more from Kronos Rewind. Champ going down very low. They get out by the skin of their teeth. No, they don't. Arcanachi is there to finish them off. Excellent play there coming out from T5head to stop this push before it even starts.
This is the composition full of squishies on the side of Kronos Rewind. I mean, like, technically, not really, but the reason why I say that is because they don't have a shield. They don't have anyone truly protecting them, and they're basically playing for themselves. So it is so hard moving into a double shield that knows, well, not even a double shield, a bunker composition, which practically fully counters you. Unless you're being able to just outright play better than them, it's going to be an increasing issue.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lazy Lizard has this supercharger online as well. Fireman throws in the self-destruct. They're not able to get any kills with that, and now Justice raining from above once again from 12 days. And look at the value, both supports out of the fight. And with that, 5head gonna hold on strong. They commit the supercharger though towards the end, and I wonder if maybe that was an overinvestment.
You know, I really can't say so. I think very much that Bongo, it wasn't very needed. They looked fine no matter what, but I understand the usage of it. I think by far it's going to matter more how they're using this Valkyrie to kind of rebuild it. They need to get those ultimates back up. They need to start refreshing their economy, because Chrono Rewinds, they can just hit Q. Either way, it's still going to be difficult for Rewind to try to move in, especially against 12 days. Yeah,
exactly. They just have a pretty good ult bank coming up from Rewind. Hey, Nolda about to get the barrage, but they're removed by 12 days. In fact, looks like both rockets took each other out. It's not often you see that. Stick comes out onto Salik, and today, Too Bad at this has evened things out a little bit. The res does come out on the 12 days though, so it is 5v5, and once again, the respawns are going to favor Team 5head. They are looking strong on this defense. They have whittled down this time bank to just a minute and a half.
It's Bunker. What are you really expecting? Because they're not going to be able to just walk into them and drop a Q and then kill. More than anything, they kind of just use that pulse bomb, I guess, to get it out of their way. Team 5ed, they have a lot to just protect themselves. They've even refreshed, built more ultimates. They committed nothing, to my knowledge, of those ultimates to really win that out. And I say to my knowledge because it was just so weird on Kronos' side that we didn't see too much, though they are going to be a bit more prepared going up against this like last minute hiya they're doing.
Yeah, the barrage coming in, but it is eaten for the most part once again by Valorine. She uses the self-destruct to try and stay alive, but it's not going to be enough. The remake does come in, but Team 5ed looking a little worse for wear right now. The rest does come in onto Heynolda as well, and now 12 days is out of the fight. Valorine out of the mech end of this fight as well. The mortality field gone too, and with that, Kronos Rewind really starting to put the pressure on. The stick comes out onto Lazy Lizard as well, but because of that fortify, they live for a moment or two, but it's not going to be too long, as now 1 tick is on board, 2 ticks. Can somebody touch? They are out there for the last moment. Valorine in this diva once again. He's doing as much as he can to stay alive, but they're only going to be able to stay in that mech for so long, but it's long enough for a couple of other staggers to come out. Now Lazy Lizard back on the point. They have the supercharger. They're going to use it immediately, but both Lazy Lizard and the supercharger are gone, and too bad that this removed, but Heynolda gonna seal the deal here with a barrage. And in overtime, Kronos Rewind caps. But this is by far the best we have seen Team 5ed look.
I definitely have to agree. I feel most of this is just the fact Kronos Rewind were playing a very questionable composition when trying to go up against in that bunker, but that last fight solely was Team 5ed kind of collapsing onto themselves and not really watching where they were sitting. They really set themselves up. They knew the Pharah was coming in for that barrage. They knew that some people were on the point trying to contest, and instead of kind of, I guess, predicting it, trying to set themselves up beforehand against it, the big issue came that half of the team stood up. The Diva was trying to eat as much as the DM, and everyone else, they dropped down where the Wrecking Ball was sitting, hit that Q, popped the mines, and eventually they all kind of burst it down. Even that Pharah who wanted to try to save them with the barrage, without the rest of the team to sit there to pull that attention from, they're not really going to get much value out of it, and we saw how much it truly hurt them. So at least on the bright side, you force them into overtime. As long as Team 5ed can cap both points with time, they have set themselves up for victory and a possible draw at the most. But if they get full held, or worse, they get held on B point, which is a lot more common, this can be a big problem. This is double shield, Pharah spam versus that teleporting brawl. You already saw how they failed. Learn from their mistakes, Team 5ed, and show them how it's played.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. You know, something interesting I think is Heynolda still on this Pharah, despite this bunker composition. A little bit of an interesting look, something I don't see too terribly often, but maybe it's more common than I realized. Now we see Heynolda on this flank. They're going to try and get tremendous value, but the TP goes through. They're going to TP instead onto Champ to try and push them out. Maybe find some value on the side. Champ already removed from the fight, but crucially, Heynolda getting tremendous value and picks alongside Fireman once again. And that's going to be Team Kronos Rewind able to hold on to this point.
They are still, interestingly enough, getting picks, which is, I think, is very important. That Baptiste, the Orisa that was caught out very early in the fight, they're going to be coming back. However, that Baptiste is forced to be res, so they're going to be having it maybe late mid-fight. It was a very nice rotation and adaptation to the Sim TP. Not often do you see them directly teleport to where the enemy is going to be. However, it just does not work when that Pharah sitting high up top of you is going to be able to shoot you down if that Diva's not there. And now they're set up already!
Yeah, they've almost got this barrage online. They got the TP out. They catch off half the members, but they're only traded from the fight. But crucially, there has been one other pick in favor of Kronos Rewind. But Team 5ed on point. Lazy Lizard taken out of the fight. Esadia, she is respawned now, but it's not going to be in quick enough time to really help out their team.
I'm glad to see them punishing that aggression that Hayden really tried to get away with. Using that barrage solely to take out the Pharah, the Baptiste is absolutely optimal. However, if it wasn't for the fact that Team 5ed was split, you would have just put yourself in a 5v6 scenario. Though they are adapting, 12 days now setting up, looking for this teleporting spot.
Yeah, they get onto point once again. They've almost got a tick on board. They do, in fact, get one. They're starting to get that second. And now things looking a little bit better for Fivehead. Chronos Rewind has to use the Immortality Field. Both do, as a matter of fact. And now, Solak taken out. The DPS popping off once again for Chronos Rewind. And they're going to come out a little bit ahead, but crucially, not too much. Fireman forced to use this Gravitic Flux. Are they going to be able to get value? Sound Barrier committed by Arcanaji. They're going to be able to keep their team up and alive. And crucially, the second tick has been brought on board on this first point. Can Team Fivehead keep up the aggression? Can they get those last few picks? Arcanaji taken out, though. Ballerina is also out of the mech. This looks like it might be a comeback for Chronos Rewind, but the Shatter thrown in as well from Lazy Lizard. They go down low, but crucially Asadea is there with that Immortality Field. And the respawn advantage is real for Team Fivehead, but the pick still coming in favor of Chronos Rewind. There's now just 2 members of Fivehead left on point, and they are falling fast. Chronos Rewind coming back in with the defense.
That is so uncommon to see a team just not be able to keep up that target focus. They were down too, and they weren't really able to finish off Fireman, who was just on a tick of health, and that's the big problem. They kind of collapsed. They also weren't playing on that point directly. They were going out more in the open. They were trying to get any picks and any hits that they could. However, that cost them so much. I'm guessing they're going to really rely on to this Blizzard, but the big problem because is that they have ultimates too.
That they do. Asadea pops the amplification matrix, and that Blizzard already finding value as there's both tanks out of the fight for Rewind, and now things are looking pretty good for Team Fivehead. There is one pick in favor of Chronos Rewind, and crucially it's Asadea, but I don't think it's going to be enough, and we are going to get to see second point of Hanamura once again.
Yeah, that's how you play the SimTP Brawl. You just sit there on the point. They're not going to be able to stop you because you're basically in a microwave, and it's what works to great effect. Hayden wanted to use that barrage. Luckily enough, doesn't hit that Q before they die, so they still have it for this hold, but that's how you get punished for sitting there on that point trying to defeat them. Now it's going to be a little harder because it's going to be very obvious where you're going to be looking at TP.
That it is. Gravitic Flux comes in from Fireman, but the sound barrier is there from Arcanachi. Asadea, though, taken out very early on by an Accretion. And with that, it's going to open things up, and Chronos Rewind going to hold on strong.
I guess you can see the bright side of allowing them, beating Team 5 on that first A push, and you wasted more of that time back, now down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You know, you have to be looking at Team Fivehead thinking, what are you directly going to do? Are you going to TP on top of the shrine kind of thing, you know, where the painting is? They have Barrage to kind of counter that. Are you going to just teleport directly onto the point? Well, they have a Bob for that. Are you going to just try to teleport where the supports are on the high ground? Well, they have a double shield for that.
Yeah, they are going to go up to the double shield. They're going to start pushing on that. And I think out of the options you presented, that was probably the best one. Hey, Nolda trying to take Solak out of the fight, but they've ensconced themselves in that ice block right there. But it's only going to last for so long. It does get melted. And now Fivehead looking a little worse for the wear. Chronos Rewind going to be able to hold on, especially because even if a pick comes in, it's in their the response in their favor.
I feel really bad for Valorant. They're trying their best to put pressure onto Hayden, but the issue comes is that the damage is hitting onto Lazy Lizard from different angles, so they're not really being able to peel for every single person. Camp also jumped down onto the point, same with Firemen, so they really couldn't finish anybody off. Their plan kind of fell underneath them. They did, however, save up those ultimates, but now they're walking deadly into the enemy's territory.
Oh my gosh!
That's a 6!
A 6-man barrage from Hayden Nolda! That is unreal!
Why would they walked into the lion's den expecting them to be asleep? There is nothing worse than walking into that barrage, and unfortunately enough, they set themselves up for that. There is nothing that you could have expected. You have ultimates. You could have set up. That Simwall was there. You could have gave yourself a little bit more space, but instead, they tried to just, I guess, go up against. Unfortunately, though, they're going to have to rely on these last ultimates to make the difference.
Now there's just 30 seconds left to go for Team Fivehead. This is their do-or-die moment. They're back firmly against the wall, and with the Gravitic Flux dealing a lot of damage, and already things are looking rough for them. Fireman already has a pick. This could be the moment. This could be the time for Chronos Rewind to shine. But the Blizzard is on point as well. There is a pick. Fireman is out of the fight. Airlift has popped that Valking ultimate to try and keep their team up. Champ has popped the supercharger as well, but the sound parry is there from Argonaut. But the barrage, again, another barrage from Hayden Olda coming in clutch. 2 seconds left on the clock. Can anything be done?
It's
no,
not.
it hasn't been. Chronos Rewind are your grand finals champions for GGEU Rookie Division. Congratulations, and what a tremendous showing. Let's watch this barrage again.
Moment of silence, please. Amen. You know? That was such a beautiful barrage.
I am just stunned. I've gotten to see in my casting career now 2 6Ks. The first was a shatter bomb that was tremendous, but I think it has just been eclipsed by that barrage because, oh my word, that was tremendous.
I feel absolutely terrible for the side of Team 5 Head. I think when it came down to that B, it's very much a struggle to kind of break through. And Chronos Rewind, they managed to cap that second point, so you had to win it out. And I think the problem came that they didn't really know how they wanted to engage it. We saw them try to TP onto the high ground, but then fall at times. They weren't able to kind of take that double shield directly to their face, nor were they trying to pressure down. And unfortunately enough, they have lost any chance to be able to bring this back. Chronos Rewind they're going to be moving closer into the finals. They are just only getting better.
Yeah, no, this was absolutely tremendous. I am just so stunned by Chronos Rewind. They come away with this grand finals win. Congratulations to them. And don't forget, chat, we still need to name an MVP, so get those votes in right now. This is unreal. And I just want to say too, Chronos Rewind, they were able to get this win in very quick fashion as well. This is one of the fastest grand finals I think I have ever cast.
Maybe like an hour and 30 minutes, I do believe. However, you know, we get this moment. Who are the players that have at least been shining to you, Mr. Juggle God? Maybe help out chat. Also, we do have these forest stats. I want to kind of pop these up a little bit more of a comparison. Yes. Or just a highlight reel. 19k damage.
5 elims?
That's more than the Reinhardt was getting on King's Row. Hayden has just like... I don't know what word to say it. I don't know what type of G Fuel they drank. Maybe they took the XQC version, absolutely drugged it into their veins, and they just showed up today.
Yeah, that they did. Nolna was just tremendous on Hanamura. I mean, the hero of Hanamura for sure. You know, and if we're just looking at one map, I would say MVP for, you know, it's just hands down MVP if we're just looking at Hanamura. But there's several other maps we have to look at, and all of the team members of Rewind did a tremendous job today. I mean, the Shatter and the Blizzard Eat combo on King's Row was just as stunning, I think. It was absolutely incredible. But hey, Nolna, definitely the story on Hanamura.
I have to agree. While Chronos Rewind, I think this is something that they'll always be looking at. While Team 5 Head, I really hope they don't disband. A lot of teams after kind of tournaments and such, they just disband. They don't want to play together anymore, or maybe they don't have any room. I hope they continue. I think they had a lot of potential going out, and they were slowly adapting. But the issue was that it was extremely slow, and it hurts. I'd like to see more teams come back into the next season to get good, working as a unit to be able to defeat anyone that they need. But either way, this is the end. But the schedule is still far from over, Mr. Juggle God.
Yes, it is. We have more exciting action coming. We'll be back later today with the second finals. And even later, we're going to have GGNA as well. So lots more action coming your way, but this is going to be it for me. I believe you're back on the next one, though. Is that correct, user intel? Are they going to be seeing your lovely face and hair again?
Oh, well, not just yet. You'll be seeing me at least when it comes to GitGud and a rookie finals. I've got to come back because I've got to compare who was better, who had the better finals. And right now, Chrono Rewind, they're looking like a better opportunity. I don't really know how much you can beat. However, the next cats, you're going to be having Toasty and Rudy TG as your casters. Either way, we're basically done kind of for the rest of the day, for you at least too. And I gotta say, for the producers who are here and they're going to be helping out D. Luca, Plush Cav, Sensei, Cypher.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
absolute
you.
love. But Juggle, you know what
And
to
the
do.
stats people as well. The stats people. I love you all throwing all these stats in. It really accentuates the broadcast as well. Final thank yous from me. I want to say thank you to chat as well. Thank you. 100 of you showed up, 100 plus to watch today. So thank you so much. Tremendous lobby that we had today, or chat rather, everybody watching. So thank you so much. And before we close this out, any final words from you, user Intel?
I just want to say, definitely stay tuned in for the next match, because it is going to be, grand finals for advance. So that's very high tier gameplay. You're definitely going to want to see how these teams bring it out. Hell, it might be something way more intense. Either way, if you want to check out GuggleGod or me, obviously our social medias are down below, because GuggleGod's absolutely insane, but you won't see him for the rest of the day. Maybe later on in the season, you'll just have to stay tuned for those announcements. Either way, we'll be back as we are going to take this break or gone, whatever. Either way, stay tuned for the next match of Get Good.